Who's that?
A guy named Brad Jersak. Um, yeah, he's incredible. He's written, I don't know, man, maybe 10 books that have just really helped me in my growth, and yeah,
Hmm.
appreciate that guy very much. He's
I'll
my
have to look him up.
yeah. Look him up. Yeah, Jersak. It's Jersak. His last name. Yeah, he's from. I think he lives not far from Vancouver.
And what's his first name?
Brad, same as mine. Yeah, yeah, cool.
Jersek?
Jersak. Yeah, yeah. He's got a really interesting story. Him and his wife, they pastored a church for all. Everybody in the church was either, handicapped, like special needs, or recovering addicts, and yeah, they're pretty amazing.
Um, not seeing the Facebook thing there. Is it there?
It should be 45 seconds.
We're going live in 45
Oh,
seconds.
well,
That's
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
have to look again.
And how long is it altogether? Or what's the
We'll be on for an hour.
part of this?
Yeah, be on 55 minutes.
30.
30 seconds.
Can bring us in, Brad? Or
Sure, why not? Yeah, I can do that. I know how to.
A beautiful historic building with its 360-degree mezzanine has hosted many private parties, catered
What you
diners,
looking at there, Dad?
even an
You,
Well-
you had a quizzical look on your face.
I'm wondering why. Oh, there we are, finally.
All right, guys, here we go.
Here we go.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
Purple Heart Homes presents Putting the Pieces Back Together, a forum for veterans and the community to connect. Here are your hosts, veterans John Gallina and Brad Borders.
Wow, how is it Thursday already? It feels like we were just here. We were literally, it just feels like I was just sitting across this table from you.
Just sitting across this
Like-
table like 7 days ago. That's what it feels like.
Time flies when you're having fun. Time flies. Devin's shirt is reminding me to remind you that you are listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, and that is presented by Purple Heart Homes and a host of sponsors on this show, and we're very thankful for them. You can find out more about what Purple Heart Homes does by going to our website at phhusa.org. That's phhusa.org, and you can find out about projects we're doing to help veterans with critical housing needs and what we do with tiny houses and other extravagant things
Extravagant.
across the nation.
Wow. Yeah.
Did you like how I did that? Was that professional?
You sound like super professional. I feel like I'm on the wrong show
You know,
right
there's
now.
there's a
Are we-
difference. There's a difference between sounding professional and being professional.
Oh, let's see.
Right.
Is this like fake it till you make it kind
That's
of thing?
exactly what it
Yeah.
is. And speaking of faking it till you make it,
Uh-huh.
talk to me about this rucking challenge that you have going on.
Devin has done an excellent job.
I'm fairly impressed.
He's impressed.
Oh, I appreciate that,
Impressive.
Tammy.
Explain to
and-
everybody what a rucking challenge is.
So-
What is rucking?
Well, first of all, rucking is a misnomer. It should be called humping, but it sounds terrible.
I mean, you could have
my
rucking
gosh.
and humping,
Hey,
and
listen,
they could
that's
both
what-
be bad.
That's
so-
what the Marine Corps calls it. That's basically when you are going along on a basic walk or a hike. You know, a little bit of elevation involved with some sort of weight in your pack. Typically,
right. It's
around-
walking with weight.
Yeah, walking with weight.
It's
Yeah.
how the Army and the Marines get places with your feet,
Absolutely.
and you walk to where you're going to do whatever it is you came to do, and you kept to carry things with you in your backpack.
And, well, sometimes on top
Now,
of that backpack.
tell us about the backpack that you had, because
It's-
you destroyed one at one time. I believe our friend Fenway called it a Teddy Ruxpin backpack.
It was the Purple Heart Homes official backpack. I can't be. See,
And you broke it day one? Like, you put it was like we got them for Christmas a couple years ago.
We did.
They
we
were
did. It was
branded backpacks, and you put a 30-pound kettlebell inside of that thing.
right.
and it broke your backpack.
By the way, a kettlebell is the wrong thing.
It is
to
a terrible
put in
thing.
your back.
It's terrible.
That had to hurt.
It flops around.
Bang in your
It
back.
sticks right in the small of your back and
Yeah.
just keeps
Right
nailing
in
you
that
the entire time.
lumbar area.
Yeah. So 35 miles, I'm into it now, and it's just pounding my back. It's,
So for everybody that know, so we
You hadn't
started this.
changed it to something else?
You just
no, I know what the weight is.
Oh my God.
So for
We had some plates we could have given you.
that's right. So what you can do is you can go out to Macomb Steel, and you can have them cut you a piece of steel that will slide in like the computer pocket.
My gosh, that's a smart thing to
That's
do.
what
Where
that's
were
what Miss
you?
Tammy and I did.
Gosh, you didn't even mention this to me.
Well, you didn't
It's-
ask me.
Well,
You
man.
didn't go. You didn't come to my. You should have come to my office and gone, Brad. I'm looking for some kind of functional weight to put inside my ruck. And I would have gone, you should go out to Macomb Steel, right? That's exactly what I told you.
Clearly, I didn't plan this out.
Clearly.
I was offered $1,000 to do 10 miles. I said I'd do 50 for $1,000.
Right.
This
The
whole
question
thing, I've
that
done it all wrong.
is waiting on everybody's lips is, will you make it to 50 miles by Sunday?
I am pretty sure that I'm going to make it to,
Okay.
to 50 miles.
I like the confidence.
Yeah. It's,
I like the confidence.
Barring, like tornado or earthquake. We
Or a ligament tear.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, those will get you.
Yeah.
Hey, and if you want to support somebody, it's probably too late to get 50 miles in yourself. But if you want to support somebody doing the Ruck Challenge, go to Facebook, find those folks out there that are doing it. Make sure you find me, not Brad, because I want to beat Brad in how much money we're raising. Support Purple Heart Homes by supporting your favorite radio host.
You've already beaten me.
Yeah, it's
Hey,
I want to beat you some more.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I mean, we were talking about. Do you want to go ahead and do events now, and or do you want to wait?
Oh, let's get to that later. Well, everybody
good.
wants to know who our guest is.
Oh, let's do
don't
that.
they?
I do.
I mean, I think it'd be awful rude not to tell everybody about him.
I love the play on
Ooh.
words.
Yeah, so we have Mike Rude all the way from Canada.
Canada.
Oh.
That's
Yeah.
actually not a country.
Oh, is it
Yeah,
not?
yeah. That's a butterfly. The Canadian butterfly.
So
It migrates. So
I did not know that.
I just made that up.
Well,
It was
let's-
my punk band in 1983.
Gosh.
so.
The beautiful butterfly, Mike Rude. Hey, how you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing fantastic. And yourself?
Absolutely wonderful now that we've gotten away with Brad making fun of me. It's
A lot better that way.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mike.
so tell us a little bit about yourself.
Like you said, it's Mike Rude. I served 28 years in the military altogether. I was with the Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry, and
Wait.
served.
Wait, back up. I get that. I mean, I served in the United States Army, and we didn't have any of our units named after a woman named Patricia, and so I got to know the story, man. There's got to be a story.
No, listen
behind
here,
that.
sir. Now, listen here, sir. We have no problem, and any of us that are, for those of us Patricias, we also go by the moniker Dirty Patricia.
Dirty Patricia. Oh, wow.
He was not a nice
So
person.
that's
is
kind
he?
of the nickname. They called us the Dirty Patricias or whatever, and so their buddy has a swag with the Dirty Patricia, world tours, Afghanistan, Iraq, Somalia, things like that.
Got it. I got it. So 28 years you served. Were you enlisted or officer?
I was a non-commissioned member.
Yep.
I joined up. So I did 2 years with the 1st Battalion, Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry. And then I, decided to move on to better things and went to the Canadian Airborne Regiment. Got my jump course, went there, did 5 years with them, deploying to Somalia in 1992.
Oh, no kidding.
Or, December of 92 to July of 93.
You were there right before all the Black Hawk Down stuff went down.
Yeah, so
in October of '93.
we were still on the ground then when the Pakistani soldiers were wiped out in Mogadishu. We
Yep.
were actually just preparing all our vehicles to be sent back because for the tour they gave us we ended up becoming mechanized, if you would. So
Yep.
we had some armored vehicles and patrolled around the desert. But yeah, we left there in June or July, just after the Pakistanis were wiped out, and then 2 months later was the Mogadishu Mile, and that was a tough thing to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
The Mogadishu. Oh man.
Yeah, it was a tough day.
Yeah.
So, hey, Mike, let's put a pin in that right now. We got a break coming up here shortly, so we can hear from our sponsors. And you're listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes. We've got our guest Mike Rood on today. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back here in just a couple minutes. So thanks for hanging with us.
More Putting the Pieces Back Together with John Gallina and Brad Borders coming up on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, yesterday, our hottest day of the year around the Lake Norman area.
All right. So we're back on the Facebook break. So Joe, is there another solution for this the way that Mike can hear us, because this phone thing's a little distracting.
I was in here. I was hearing voices, and I was like,
And you were just like,
is
gonna
it?
throw
It was
his
getting
phone.
louder.
I was
no
just
matter
going to
what we
throw it.
did.
I was like, going to chuck it into the ocean.
What do you
were
mean?
just
Like you
not
can hear the
listening to us
volume
say,
on the?
"Don't."
Yeah.
Can you turn it down?
I've turned
I
it
can't
all
hear
the
you.
way down. So for those of you in Facebook
Listening
or
to my
YouTube
face.
or Xland, wherever you may be catching this on social media, what we're talking about here is we've had some technical difficulties, and I've actually got my cell phone as the way that our guest is hearing us today.
That's how I
And
describe my relationship with you, Devin.
what's that?
Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. I thought that was your punk band.
So
Nice.
That's
there
good
is a
name.
workaround.
Okay. We're working on the workaround for those. Oh. Okay. Mike, did you catch that?
No, I didn't.
Well, I'm not in there where the phone
Oh, you
is.
can't.
So
He can't hear us. So also
No,
the
just off through your
listeners
phone.
can't hear us. They just think that I'm talking to myself right now. They can't hear me talking to the producer.
Well, they can't hear the producer.
you can hear me.
Right.
They can hear you.
They can hear me right now.
Yeah,
but
you-
they don't hear the producer.
Right. Right.
Now they can.
Oh.
Now you see me? Now they can.
Now they
Devin looks
can.
So confused.
I'm really having a hard time differentiating this and the voices in my head. So,
Well, you also
Devin, if you want to text him the studio number.
yeah, absolutely.
you also don't put the earphones over your head. You over your ears. You wear it on your temple as if it were some sort of transmitting device.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, I'm way too loud to put
All
that
right,
headphone
Devin's going
on
to bring
my
us
own ear.
back in, Joe. Devin and I are unsupervised today.
Why did they do that?
Yeah. Someone made a mistake at the home office.
Boys.
You know, I don't think we have enough time to get it set up, so we're
Yeah,
just going to
that's
have
all
to
right.
deal with
No, we'll deal
We'll
with
be
it.
fine.
Now
We
that
just
I
know.
know, I'm good.
it. Now that we know.
By the way, your
'cause it was-
camera looks.
Putting the Pieces Back Together continues now. Here are your hosts, John Gallina and Brad Borders, on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together, hosted by Brad Borders and me, Devil Dog Devin.
And
we have a you didn't let me get to it.
oh,
You ruined it. I was going to talk about how our replacement for John was much prettier, but you had to step in.
Oh, that's sweet.
The
I didn't stop you
beautiful
from saying that.
Tammy Borders. Yeah,
I did not stop you from
messed up
saying
my
that.
flow. I'm not very smart. You can't stop me in the middle of doing
I see
things.
how it
I
is.
forget what I'm doing. I'm confused.
How dare you?
I probably wet myself in the process. I don't know.
There's way too much information. What are you going to say about my wife?
I was just going to say that she was the beautiful replacement for John Gallina. Much nicer to look at.
You smile when you say that.
Oh, well. I have been taking walks in the wilderness with her lately.
That's right.
Yeah, it's
That's
true.
right.
Not unfettered, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, Brad was supervising.
That's correct.
Chaperone.
Amber, I'm talking to my wife now. This is not what it sounds like.
Maybe we should get back to Mike Rood before you get
should.
in real trouble.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, I hope she's not listening today. Hey, Mike, so you were telling us about the Princess
Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry.
Yeah. Wow. That is quite the name for a unit.
Yeah, so it was started up in World War One, and it was privately funded to form the regiment, and then they used Princess Patricia of Connaught as as our regimental, however you put that,
like the mascot, right?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but the to say the person that we're named after.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
It was a guy named Hamilton Galt that raised up the regiment and then took it over in 1914.
Wow.
For
and so I'm assuming there's
tradition there.
Yeah, pretty elaborate combat history from World War I through World War II, all the way through the current conflicts. Yeah.
Yeah, but in Afghanistan, we probably lost about 38 people from our regiment.
Yeah,
38 different soldiers.
Yeah, wow,
that's terrible, and that just goes to show. So it doesn't matter if you served in the U.S. military or the Canadian military or the Australian military. That experience of being a soldier, Marine, sailor. That's not just unique to our country.
Oh no, absolutely not.
That's the same experience they're having.
Yeah.
You're shooting at an unknown person on the other side of you. They're shooting back, and often you don't even personally have any vendetta against each other. It's just you're doing what you have to do to serve your country.
I served when I was in Iraq. I served as the chaplain for Aegis, which was a contracting company. Because they didn't have a chaplain,
really,
but they were in contact, troops in contact every single day. But they were all it was cool. Aegis was made up with all former British soldiers, a lot of SAS guys, Australian dudes from Canada. We're in that unit, and they drove like the really cool blacked out SUVs and up armored stuff, and they drove real fast everywhere they went and they wore flight suits. That was what they wore. That was their gear.
Did you get any of that cool stuff right there, Mike?
For the 50th anniversary of D-Day, we jumped in for that.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
There was 1,800 British paratroopers, 150 Canadian, and 50 Polish.
Wow.
And I think it was 17 British Hercs, 3 Canadian.
Oh, that is cool, man. Yeah.
Flew over, landed in the farmer's wheat field, pulled in my parachute, walked off, got a glass of champagne.
Nice.
That's classy, right
there.
There.
Start of a celebration.
That is very French.
Wow, yeah.
You jump into the drop zone and get a glass of champagne. That doesn't work like that at St. Mirren and at Fort Bragg.
Did your chute have a maple leaf on it?
No, just a green chute. But actually, for that one, we jumped with the British chute.
I'm just joking.
With their low level parachute. Oh yeah, no.
Did you say with a low level parachute? Was that?
Yeah,
like...
so they were designed, I think, to jump at 600 feet.
Holy smokes! Wow, that's pretty low. What's a normal jump at for you
Yeah.
for our listeners?
About 1,800.
Yeah. So you have a lot less time to slow down there.
If something goes wrong, you got a lot less time too.
Oh, yeah. So you basically got to know something's wrong immediately.
Yes.
Pretty much, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
Time is of the essence.
Yeah. So, so after a 28-year career, is that what you said? 28 years?
Yeah, 28 years.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, thank you for your service. And now you're doing this thing called a podcast called The Rude Awakening. I really wanted to get into what you're doing with the podcast and what you're calling attention to, because I think it's critically important for the well-being of veterans. And so maybe if you could help our listeners out with what the Rude Awakening podcast is all about.
So it's actually a combination of two. So I started the Rude Awakening tour, driving the country, talking about a drug that we took in the military called mefloquine or Lariam. So that was an anti-malaria drug. So it was a drug that was given out to anyone deploying to a malaria-infected area. Mm-hmm. So that's what I started the drive on, and then I went into recently just linked up and started doing a podcast as well. And my first episode is actually with a doctor from Michigan, a U.S. Veteran, Dr. Remington Nevin. So
no kidding. How do folks find the podcast? Just do a search in Spotify or something, or Google Rude Awakening.
Yeah, so I have it's on YouTube.
Okay.
I have the Rude Awakening tour is also on Instagram, Facebook, and X to an extent. And then I started doing the StreamYard as well. So then that way you can kind of go to all the different platforms at the same time.
Got it. So the drug. Tell me the name of the drug again.
The drug itself was mefloquine.
Mefloquine.
So it's the brand name was Lariam.
Yep.
So Lariam was the brand, and it was the only anti-malaria drug that's a once a week pill.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a lot of bad stuff associated with mefloquine now.
I think they gave that to a lot of us when we're.
Yeah,
if I understand right, from talking to you before, the reason that you're going on this tour is because America recognizes the problems associated with that drug, and Canada isn't, right?
Yes. So, Dr. Remington Nevin, throughout your because all your VAs are regional, so each decision is reached by your regional VA, and in Canada, it's only one site or one place that all the claims go through. So for us, they're not admitting to anything. They're saying there's no problem with it. But like I was saying, Dr. Remington Nevin then gets U.S. veterans 100% disability claim for quinism, which is what they say what the drug does to you. So it actually poisons you and causes these issues. So, throughout the states, he's gotten veterans there 100% disability claims for mefloquine poisoning or quinism.
And
in Canada,
you mentioned
and in Canada.
Oh, I'm sorry. What are the symptoms of this?
I can look at the back at the wall, right? So on my poster, anger, depression, anxiety, unusual behavior, sleep problems, concentration, confusion, impulsiveness, personality change, agitation, nightmares, fear of crowds, paranoia, restlessness, suicidal ideation, of which I've attempted twice. Hyper alertness, bowel disorder, flashbacks, unable to multitask. So, say you can only handle like say 3 or 4 things on your plate, and then anything more than that, it's like you can't function any, or you can't, you know, you stop doing everything because now you've tried to do too much.
Wow.
Is hyperfixation one of the symptoms as well? Like being unable to, like hyperfixation on things you can't control, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Just trying to see where it falls in, but I'll just read off a couple more there. The memory loss, light sensitivity, dizziness, nausea, headaches, vertigo, balance issues, because it affects your vestibular. It causes vestibular disturbances.
Wow. Hey, Mike,
or aphasia.
We're gonna put a pin in it right there. When we come back, we're gonna be talking a little bit more to Mike Root about the Root Awakening tour, and we also have a surprise guest, Scott Burns, in a tower in Tupelo, Mississippi. You're not going to miss it. We'll catch you right after these messages from our sponsors.
We'll be back with more of Putting the Pieces Back Together with your hosts, John Gallina and Brad Borders, after this short break on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, yesterday, our hottest day of the year around the Lake Norman area.
Yeah, we could. Hey,
we got about 3 minutes.
Let's bring Scott in now.
Yes, sir. Also, if he wants to call the studio now, if he does it now, he'll be able to hear the phone call as well.
Hey, Mike,
the normal studio number. Not the back door, the normal studio number.
Have Mike called the number? I don't know that number.
It's on the sheet.
What sheet? We don't have a sheet. Oh, that's a sheet. I'm going to text you a number for you to call.
For audio.
For the audio, so it's not as confusing for the echo that we're having in the studio. All right. I'm going to have you call that right now.
You want me to bring him in? Your guest?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead and bring Scott in. Thanks, Joe.
He's in.
Scott Burns.
What's up? How are you guys doing?
Oh, man, doing great. How are you doing, my friend?
That's pretty good for a guy camped out on top of a tower.
I know.
Wow, right? Yeah. Just hanging out in a tower, huh?
I was telling some folks at Purple Heart Homes today that I affectionately called you Stumpy, and our 2 new marketing ladies were mortified that I would call a person with no legs Stumpy, and I was like, you don't really understand how this works in the military.
Yeah.
Right. And also,
I've got it tattooed on my leg. So
now wait. So I told them about that. You didn't lose your tattoo when they took off your other leg?
I did not, and I don't know if they were planning to cut it off when they are messing it up when they were doing the surgery.
Right.
But Hannah had actually wrote a note on the leg that told them to save the tat, so they did.
Oh, that's awesome, man. They wrote a note on it. That's fantastic.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah. So, well, Scott, tell everybody what you're doing, where you're at, and what you're doing, and why in the world you're doing it.
Well, right now I'm about 15 feet up in the air in a parking lot in Tupelo, Mississippi, and I've been up here for this is my 5th day with an event called 7 Days for the Troops, and I literally camp up on top of this tower for 7 days to raise money to help veterans. And one of our big projects we've got that we're trying to raise money for right now, Purple Heart Homes is actually going to be involved in a big way. We've got a 70-year-old veteran here that lost his house in a fire, and somebody reached out to us on his behalf about him needing a new place to live, and he just wanted a storage building converted into a tiny home. And we had thought about doing that because that's what he asked for, but then Paul with Purple Heart Homes reached out to me and said we can do better, and so we're now going to put a tiny home, courtesy of Purple Heart Homes, on this gentleman's property in Oxford, Mississippi.
Are we going to drag it down there? Is that what we're
I
doing?
think you're going to drag it down here.
How about
That is awesome. Man, just going to put that on the back of a trailer and go
Oh,
on.
no. Devin's been rucking a lot, and so he told me he was just going to put that tiny home in a rucksack and ruck it on down to Oxford, Mississippi.
I actually talked to the marketing team, and there's a plan for you to be in the tiny home and film your journey
While you're rucking it.
Yeah, while I'm rucking it. Yeah, I'll be dragging it along, and you'll be filming it all shaky
From
cammed
inside
inside in the back. Yeah,
I'm not sure that's legal.
Yeah.
Y'all could tag team it. One carry it for a little while, and the other one drag it. I mean, get it there.
That's
do what you got to do.
So hey, Scott, we're getting ready to go back to the live radio.
We'll reintroduce you,
and we'll have to reintroduce you and all that good stuff. But yeah.
All right, that'll work.
Yeah, stand by here for another 20 seconds or so.
Mike, are you calling that number I sent you?
Am I calling the number?
Yeah, the number I sent you.
Well, I thought you were talking to Scott to send him.
I'm sorry about the confusion, Mike.
31 points. Joan Doniger, Bloomberg Radio.
It's Putting the Pieces Back Together with John Gallina and Brad Borders on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Hey, welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes. Find out more about us at phhusa.org. That's phhusa.org. We are joined live from Tupelo, Mississippi. You got to say it like that.
Tupelo?
Tupelo, Mississippi. Birthplace of the King, Elvis Presley. You know that?
I did not know that. I should know that.
I've been to Elvis's childhood home in Tupelo, Mississippi. Scott Burns is not far from there. He is on a tower. He's 15 foot in the air. He's been there for 5 days in an event that he calls 7 Days for the Troops, where he spends 7 days up in a tower raising money to help veterans. He's been doing that for a number of years. This is not the first time he's done it.
No.
And Scott is a service-connected disabled veteran and does this on behalf of other veterans, and we're very thankful for that. And so, Scott, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. We're going to put our friend Mike Rood on hold for a minute, and we're going to get back to him towards the end of the show. So, Scott, welcome to the show, buddy. Glad to have you here.
Man, thanks for having me on the show. I was listening to Mike's interview. It sounds pretty interesting, so I'm going to have to tune in for the rest of that when he gets back on.
For sure. Yeah. So, hey, what's the weather like there on top of the tower in Tupelo, Mississippi? You hot and sweaty down there?
Well, it's been around about 100, 103.
Is that all?
Holy smokes.
It's been just a little warm. Now, yesterday, a little storm came in and cooled it off, and it's still a little cool today. So I'm liking the cooler weather up here.
Yeah, Scott, tell everybody why do you do this? What is your problem? Why do you do this?
Well, I
love that phrase.
I started it about 18 years ago because I couldn't serve in the military anymore, and I still wanted to give back. And this was just a one-time deal that has turned into an 18-year venture, and now a fully formed 501c3, and we work with other veterans organizations like Purple Heart Homes. When it comes to raising money, and I'm not trying to brag, but I'm pretty good at it. And so I found a system that worked. I found a system that worked, and I wanted to be able to help as many veterans as possible. So I decided, instead of trying to solve all the problems myself, to raise money and help other veterans organizations with their mission. And that way, together, we can put a dent in the veterans' needs.
That's awesome, man. Well, we sure appreciate that. And you've been on the tower here in States Vegas and in Florida and Texas and all over the place. And we're thankful you're getting to do it at home in Tupelo, so that's good. When do you come down from the tower? Is it on Saturday or Sunday this week?
Saturday at 3:00, I'll be coming off the tower, and hopefully we'll have raised enough money to provide a tiny home for the veteran in Oxford, Mississippi that we're helping with.
That is outstanding. Well, we are sure thankful for you, buddy, and I hope and pray that the weather cooperates a little better than it has. I hope it's not 103 anymore for you, and hope you don't get rained on. So
Or tornadoes.
He's got a pretty cool setup, though. He's got a little tent up there.
Yeah, it's pretty fancy.
And people come by and throw food at him. It's pretty awesome.
To him or at him?
At him and to him.
Both.
Yeah,
Both.
Okay. Well,
catch this cheeseburger.
To and at are very different things when you're
Right.
talking. It's,
That's exactly right.
Is there like one of those things like a Duncan Booth thing? If they hit it just right, it'll fall.
That would be awesome. Hey, let's do that on the next 7 days for the troops. Yeah.
I actually thought about getting me a giant Duncan booth to put right by this one so I could cool off a little bit. So.
Oh man,
Devin said he would be the guy.
Wait,
I heard him say he was thinking it. He was thinking it. So,
gosh.
Well, Scott, thank you so much, brother. We appreciate you. Look forward to seeing you again real soon. And thanks for doing what you're doing, buddy. And wish you well. And God's blessings to you and your family as well.
Thank you being such a great partner to PHH.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. All right, we'll talk to you soon. And thanks for being on today, brother.
All right, have a good one.
All righty. Oh, what a good dude, man.
He is a great dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we failed to mention this. He's a Marine.
Ah.
Yeah. That was it's. What was that gas? That sigh? Okay.
Well, okay.
Well, let's get back to our international guest.
First one ever.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mike Root
of the Root Awakening Tour. So Mike's been telling us about this drug that our militaries gave us to offset malaria, and unfortunately, this particular drug, malafloquin. I can't say it. How do I say it?
Don't ask me to say it.
Say it for us, Mike.
Mefloquine.
Mefloquin. Okay, I got it. Unfortunately, that particular drug, while keeping you from getting malaria, causes some other things, and they're not great. And so Mike has been on sort of a crusade, for lack of a better term,
that is
of bringing awareness to Canadian veterans who have struggled with the symptoms of this particular drug. And prior to the break, and Scott coming on, he was listing some of the symptoms. Sounds, aside from like the physical symptoms, sounds like PTSD as well, right?
Yeah, so the symptoms mimic the same symptoms of PTSD and traumatic brain injury.
Wow.
So you could have, if you've never had a TBI, and then you have all these other side effects in that category, that might tell you that you were actually poisoned from mefloquine.
So, which brings me to my next question. So after someone has taken this particular drug, and they're experiencing these symptoms, is there a treatment protocol to offset the symptoms that people have from taking this malaria medication?
Right now, they kind of say there's no treatment available.
Wow.
It's the drug has done damage to your brainstem, which causes all these issues.
Mm.
So, but I think there's some positive things out there that might make a difference. One of them is out of Chicago, Dr. Lipov, and it's the dual sympathetic reset.
Duo sympathetic reset? Is that what?
Yeah.
So
tell us a little bit about that.
They say that can. They do an injection in your neck, in your L3 or L6 or whatever, on the left side, and then they can do it on the right side as well. They say what it does, your sympathetic nervous system, say the switch goes on, and when they give you the injection, it relaxes and takes the switch off.
So in essence, the malaria drug causes that particular part of your neurological system to stay in a sense of heightened alert, if you will.
Yeah, so the switch is always on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you get this treatment, I think would do a lot to negate some of the symptoms.
Are they doing, have you heard of anybody doing any work with like hyperbaric treatment when it comes to, hyperbaric chambers, that kind of thing, and that having any results?
I've only recently seen that. Would like to look into it.
Okay.
I know the dual sympathetic reset is supposed to help a lot with operator syndrome.
Yes, correct.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And, for those that don't know, operator syndrome is typically from when you have been multiple times deployed. Operator syndrome is kind of caused by, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but I served in that community, but it's been under nods all the time, working at night, and then your circadian rhythm gets all jacked up from years and years of doing that, and some of the symptoms of operator syndrome are very similar to what Mike has shared with us today.
No kidding.
Constantly having to switch on to protect yourself.
Yes,
right?
correct. Yeah.
So it's one of those things where there's a lot of stuff happening into folks in the military that don't happen to everyday civilians, and it's really hard to pinpoint what's causing it sometimes.
It is, and so because it's hard to pinpoint, it's hard to find a treatment that works for it, right? And so,
yes,
and there's a myriad of drugs that people can take, but they simply mask things, right, and don't get to the root cause of stuff. Right. So, hey, we're getting ready to jump into a break, and be our last one of the day. You're listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together. We got our friend Mike Rood from the Rood Awakening Tour and Podcast talking about serving in the Canadian military and results of some drugs that they took. They've caused some bad symptoms for people. So come back after the break, and we'll continue on with that conversation.
Putting the Pieces Back Together. We'll be back with more of John Gallina and Brad Borders after these messages from 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Ooh. All right. Mike, you there? Uh-oh.
Oh, got it.
Oh. Call him back on the wait. We can't just not put him on hold anymore.
I hear the commercial.
Yeah.
You can hear us again?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay. All right. Good deal.
Way to go, Joe.
I still realize that Joe could again, the audience hear you or just me when you were talking to me just now?
Just you guys. Now everybody can hear me. Hi, I'm back.
So
can you tell the
just
difference?
Want our listening audience to know that if I'm just talking and it seems like that nobody's actually talking back, but I'm responding. It's not because I'm crazy. I may be crazy.
That's just
but that isn't the reason why we're doing that.
That's just what you tell everybody.
Conversation with yourself,
right. That's what I'm getting at. Yes, thank you.
Sometimes he'll respond, and I wasn't even talking. That's the thing. Is every now and then I'm like, did I say something?
He just drives. He just drives down the road when you're not in the car with him and talks to you, Joe.
You probably asked me to change the light. Joe, can you change the light real quick?
He's got this tiny little green car he drives around in, and I see him just talking, and I just assume he's talking to you, Joe.
Yeah, that's it.
So I want you to know that Joe's going to have a guest on his show numerous days next week, over the next 3 weeks, starting Saturday.
Really?
Because everyone knows the most popular sporting event in the world starts on Saturday, and that is true. The Tour de France. Starts on
Tour de France.
It is the
I
most.
thought that was soccer.
No,
like World Cup. You're
the
telling
Tour de
me
France,
the Tour de France
more
is
people
more
watch
popular.
the Tour de France than any other sporting event in the world. And I'm going to be a guest on Joe's show because I'm going to call in and I'm going to talk about it because his listeners have no idea of who Jonas Vingegaard is or Tadej Pogacar.
We're going to get
The
learned on the
question
scoreboard.
is, how many of those guests are the listeners care?
None of them.
All of my listeners care.
They do.
Don't care
Thank you.
about the
Thank
Tour
you,
de
Joe. Here we go. Going back
man.
live. You want me to bring this
gosh.
back in?
Was that?
Call now to speak with John Gallina and Brad Borders at 844-STUDIO-4. It's Putting the Pieces Back Together on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Hey, welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes. We're glad to have you here. It's the final segment of the show. We've got our friend Mike Rood, all the way from British Columbia. Whoa,
British
that's a long
Columbia.
way.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
beautiful out there, by the way. The Canadian Rockies are out there. Did you know that?
I did not. I
Yeah,
I
that's
really
where the-
don't know much about the
giant-
geography of Canada.
Well, you are a Marine, so
That's-
there you go. Yeah, no. That's a softball. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thanks. The wife and I were debating where guano was last night. I was like,
Guano is bat feces.
no.
Oh.
That's different.
It's not, I don't know exactly where it is. It might be in your attic. Right?
It could be, yeah. I better get that checked out. That's send somebody up
Awesome,
there,
man.
But
So,
hey, before we get back to Mike,
we got some events coming up.
We do. We have a couple of. First of all, military makeovers coming back to our area.
The circus.
That's right. They bring the circus to town, baby. That's it. Hey, July 10th, and is when that's going to start. And there is going to be some volunteer opportunities. We're not putting that on our regular website. So if anybody wants,
Where are we putting it?
I'm telling you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So
wait a minute. We have an irregular website. You said we have on our regular website.
Are you going to do this
okay,
now?
I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We're going to make this an exclusive for the radio listeners for the moment because we have so many big groups that are going to be volunteering.
This is true.
We don't need a lot of individuals. So if you as an individual or even a small group would like to participate in Military Makeover, we're going to put that link in the comments on Facebook. So go back later, check that out. That's going to be exclusive to our listeners of the show. You'll have to go back to the Facebook and putting the pieces back together and check that out.
It's going to be going on in Mooresville.
I
think the veteran we're assisting along with Military Makeover is the veteran a Marine?
You know, I don't. We're going to have to wait and see because we can't be disclosing all the secrets of Military Makeover. There's other things going on in July,
keep going.
though. Yeah, absolutely.
Keep going.
Especially Fenway came in. What was that last week with the real kayak fishing tournament?
No. It's the Real Heroes kayak fishing tournament, not the real kayak, as opposed to the fake kayak.
You're going to use real kayaks.
They are going to use real
and everyone's their own
kayak.
captain. Hey, for those who sign up ahead of time, there's only 120 spots that will get the Wiley X sunglasses and
You'll be styling and
all
profiling.
the goodies. Man, that goodie bag is
Gonna be
loaded.
great.
But July 13th is when that's happening in Mooresville.
Mm-hmm.
Also on July 13th, there's a Purple Heart Homes benefit concert. Lou Watson's retirement party at Amos South End. And tickets at the door are going to be $20, but if you get them ahead of time,
does Lou get the money?
$15. All proceeds.
Okay.
Going to Purple
But
Heart
it's his
Homes.
retirement.
It is. And you know what? For his retirement, he wanted to do something special for other people.
That's pretty
And
cool.
he chose Purple
good
Heart
guy.
Homes. And we're just delighted about that.
Okay.
Also, we've got Patriot Clay Shoe Challenge in September 12th and little known bike race.
Yeah, a little known bike race called Take That Hill, October the 5th. You can find out more about that at our website as well in the events tab. And so if you ride a bike or you're into functional fitness, there'll be both of those opportunities that day. It's held at beautiful Southern Distilling Company.
Oh, yeah.
Right here in States Vegas. And so come on out. It'll be fantastic.
Man, that's a full calendar.
Full calendar.
Wow.
That's the way we do it. Full
That's
Calendar
awesome.
is the name of my punk band back in 1982.
All
right. Hey, back to our guest. Mike Rude is so graciously agreed to join us from all the way from way far away from here. We've been talking about this drug that our militaries gave us to prevent malaria, but unfortunately it caused some other things and a whole list and host of symptoms.
Oh,
And,
yeah. And Mike's been going all around both Canada and the U.S. to spread awareness. Where all have you been, Mike?
Well, I've been back and forth across. I've been to all three coastlines of Canada. So I've been up to Tuktoyaktuk, the Arctic Ocean, been to the back and forth from Vancouver Island to the island of Newfoundland and Labrador. And then just recently, I saw a squirrel and did a sidetrack and came down to check out your guys' operation, right? Back in March, I think it was. But I
Yes,
just
he
went
did.
and did. I went and did the run for the wall the ride for those that can't, to remember those for the POWs from Vietnam, etc. So did that motorcycle ride from Ontario, California to Washington, D.C., and then to the Middle Eastern conflict wall, which is in Marseille, Illinois. And then from there, I packed up, went back to Toronto, sent my driver, flew home to BC, and I loaded the bike up and drove back out west.
That's awesome, man. Hey, how do people find out about you? And do you got a website that folks can go to?
Yeah, so I have the Rude Awakening Tour on Facebook, Instagram, and then YouTube for the podcast. And if anybody wants to be a guest on it, they can write Sergeant, SGT, Mike, MIKE, Rude, RUDE, @gmail.com.
Oh, that's cool. So tell us about, we've just got a few minutes left, but you had a physician on, a U.S. military physician. Who else has been on the podcast?
So Dr. Remington Nevin was the first person on the podcast, and then the wife of a guy named Clayton Matchie, who was involved with the in Somalia. It was the beating death of a Somali teen.
Wow.
And what people don't know is that he was having prodromal symptoms, that he was having side effects before he deployed to Somalia in 92. And then during what happened, he was actually having hallucinations, active hallucinations, while that was going on. So trying to highlight the fact that he was already having side effects and should have been taken off the drug already before any of that stuff happened.
So when people come off of mefloquine.
Wow, it's strange that I can say the word.
I
and
know,
you can't.
and that word is just, it's like Greek to me. But if you're off of it for a long time, it's evidently the damage it does, it just stays with you. It doesn't just go away. Right?
It's they say it's pretty much permanent, right? So the drug was then given a black box label in 2016 when kind of an international coalition formed on mefloquine. So now it's a drug of last resort, but it's still given out. And even, so mefloquine, the key component in it is the drug quinine, which actually was given to save Marines in the Second World War, and was used, and that was in a drug called Adabrin, and that's what the troops in Guadalcanal used.
So is there a test that physicians can do that will tell you? I mean, what like if there's a U.S. service member or a Canadian service member listening and they've got these symptoms, how do you find out, if it was linked to, do you have to go back into your records and find out you were given this drug pre-deployment or something like that, or while you were deployed?
Sometimes, depending on whether, for the time frame that it happened. So say you took mefloquine in, I don't know, 1993, say for myself, I took it in Somalia. So then they know no other drug was used during that time. Or for a U.S. service member, they can, they'll be able to find it in your records, or because the records are poorly kept, once again, by time frame, when the drug was used, when they went on tour, where they went on.
Got it. Wow. And so what we're saying is in the U.S., the VA is recognizing that this particular drug did some damage, but the Canadian government is not currently, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And so, in your tour is to raise awareness and to get some action taken on behalf of the veterans that serve.
Yes.
Yeah. Agreed.
So there was a Green Beret in the U.S. that was going to be tried for, I think, cowardice or something like that. He was facing the death penalty, and his they had found that he was had a psychosis from the drug from taking the mefloquine.
Wow.
No
And then
kidding.
all the charges were dropped, and
Yeah,
and
that
then
kind of set
he
a
walked,
precedent
right?
as well, I'm sure. And so, look, if you're a veteran, we got about a minute left for the end of the show, but if you're a veteran out there listening and you've been struggling with some of these issues and you took this particular drug, Devin, say it.
Mefloquine.
There, thank you. Right.
Yeah.
Mefloquine.
Or
yeah.
commonly referred to as Lariam.
Yeah, or Lariam. Hey, man,
drug.
yeah, start asking some questions. Get in touch with your VSO.
Absolutely.
You know, hopefully some smart person will develop a treatment for it that is effective and it works. And so, Mike, we got 30 seconds. I just want to thank you so much. This is an incredible topic, and we're grateful for all the work that you're doing on behalf of your fellow service members and veterans.
Thank you very much, and more importantly, thank you guys for all that you're doing. Right, for all the work. I was down there. I saw the veterans' home torn down, building a new one.
Yeah.
Right, seeing the amount of hope that you guys are putting out there.
Thanks, brother.
That's awesome.
Happy
Thank you so
Independence Day, everybody. God bless you.
God bless.
You've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, brought to you by Purple Heart Homes. Please consider making a donation to this worthwhile cause dedicated to improving the lives of veterans one home at a time by visiting purplehearthomesusa.org. Join us again next Thursday at 3 p.m. for Putting the Pieces Back Together on WSIC News Talk Now.
Serving you better than ever before.